Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy night to join me. I really appreciate it. I make time for Stranger Things, so quite literally. You like how I did that? I make time for Stranger Things, as in both the TV show and just in general, whatever happens in my life, I kind of take with a grain of salt because, well, hey, I live in a universe where anything's possible. And trust me, I've seen some things that one might think aren't possible. But hey, if seeing is believing, then I've definitely been there. So I hope that you guys are having a really good night. Seriously, I always try to open up on a bit of a high note, and if you didn't already notice, I'm an awfully energetic person. So if you're new to the channel, definitely don't let my energy throw off your vibe. You feel me? Because like I come at you with a lot of it. But I do encourage you to check out any of the 400 other videos on the channel. Every single night we do 4 streams and we talk about nothing. Sometimes we end up talking about something, but as it is, the satire of the entire setup here is just I said it before in the last video, and I guess I don't mind saying it for all intents and purposes, but I am in fact the joke. So welcome to my joke, as in I anyways. Tonight I want to talk about social capitalism. Okay, so we do 4 streams a day, right? And if you didn't already know, I still want to be your friend and everything, right? Because I understand in this country politics divides people, but I don't want to be that dude. You feel me? Even if you disagree with me politically, that's fine. We can still be friends. I don't not watch people because I don't agree with them. Sometimes I watch more people that I don't agree with just so that I can get a better understanding of how other people think and where I can fit in terms of either, offering a bit of flexibility on my end and being a little bit more empathetic and accepting and understanding of another person's argument and so forth. So I go through these things all the time, and I'm trying to sell myself in a way that's like not too overbearing because again, I mean, we all end up getting old and talking about politics and weather anyway. I mean, I don't want to burst anyone's bubble out there, but when you get old, you're going to end up talking about just a few things. And one of those few things will inevitably be politics. Politics, religion, these are the kind of things that the conversations go towards when you're older. And the weather, if I didn't already mention that one. So, yeah, the weather, religion, and politics. It gets fun getting old, and I feel like it's because these things matter. On some level, these things matter, and I identify as a social capitalist. If you're not sure what that is, again, I encourage you to watch some of the other videos on the channel, especially the ones that specifically pertain to being a social capitalist. But hey, I don't want to sell you something that, like, you don't understand you're buying. You feel me? In terms of, like, I'm a social capitalist. I know that that's a relatively kind of new thing to say, and I'm okay with that because at heart, I'm a good old American boy, multi generation, and I believe in some capitalistic ideas. Right or wrong, I feel like it's embedded in me, it's ingrained, so I got to go with it, and I got to make it the best kind of experience that I can make it given all of the terrible mistakes capitalism has made. But moreover, I feel like capitalism must evolve. And, if you've watched the channel before, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but social capitalism is in fact the evolution of capitalism, of modern day capitalism. It's just incorporating the idea of socializing a few policies that are within the government, and that's all. Okay, that's all that it is. And I say this because, I think everybody can agree. I like to talk about things that people can relate to in terms of like, have you seen the feed on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your YouTube, any feed, right? You're gonna be like bombarded with a lot of things that show, how well people are doing or how good the world is improving. But then, like, you take a step outside and you clearly see there's a disconnect between, what kind of quality of life is being presented to us on a daily, in a digital sense, and then as it concerns like the IRL world out there, right? And there's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars collectively throughout the world being invested in industries that are non-human related. And it's interesting because we've been sold the idea that technology can change the course of action as it concerns what path we head down towards, in our socio-economic lives and our every single day lives as constituents and as citizens, private citizens of a country. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a huge emphasis on this, and there should be an emphasis on maintaining, integral infrastructure as it concerns technology and all of these other things. But I feel like all modern day governments fail to really address the big problems, and a big problem is figuring out how to accommodate human beings when we enter a world, like when we're kind of secondary, in that if the whole point of being a human being is to get things done and to be, just like real adamant about like almost acting like a machine, in that our purpose is to just get things done, well then, we collectively have gotten a lot done. And the problem with getting things done in the way that we choose to get them done is that once they're done, they're done, and there's really no room for improvement, for change, for inclusivity. And this goes for the entirety of all workforces throughout every labor sector and each industry throughout the modern world. And so, as a social capitalist, I think that it's important to three things, right? Just there's really three big things that concern being a social capitalism, right? And we're going to actually talk about these things more in depth in another video that's coming up tonight. But just to kind of quickly throw it out there, it's UBI, Universal Basic Income, it's open borders, and it's healthcare. So these are the foundational, fundamental properties of the things that I believe in, right? I know I didn't say that quite right, but you got to understand here too that all of this is unscripted, and it's just coming out of the shiny little dome. The shiny little dome. I say that because it's so hot in my room, and my brown like skin has the inflection of it being shiny because of the sweat that pours through my glands. But regardless, so being a social capitalist again, like, is something new or whatever, but I really feel like the biggest takeaway from this vlog should be that we're all on the same team. If you're a human being and you got skin and you got bones, then like you're on the team, you know what I mean? And right now, I think that we're failing to recognize kind of the inevitable problems that will come in our lifetime. And I feel like I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's like carrying a condom with you, right? You know what I mean? If you're, I don't know what women do, but I know that I'm like, anyways, the thing in the club with the hetero men is that, you carry around a condom because you'd much rather have one and not need it than need it and not have one, kind of a thing. Informed consent is probably the only thing that matters as it concerns the dissemination and the interpretation of information that is given out there and stuff. So it's real important to take the things away from what's presented to us, and then also use our own judgment and common sense as we walk out there in the world. And if we're reading articles about how the homeless problem is being solved and stuff, and then you go outside and you see that there's more than just a handful of homeless people, well, clearly there's a disconnect between IRL and the kind of information that we all intake on a daily. And so again, it's just a kind reminder to everyone out there that what matters is people. Through and through, I am an advocate for artificial intelligence. I will always be an advocate for the integration of sentience as it concerns AI and human beings. But I'm also a humanist in that, like, that's what I am. And as much as I am looking forward to collaborating with sentient, machines that we've created, which is something that will happen, I also am a little old school, and I sometimes prefer the company and the security and safety of other good old human beings. I mean, I think there's nothing more beautiful, and harmonious and magical than when human beings get along with other human beings. I think that we're not encouraged enough to just be better people to other people, and I think that's something that being a social capitalist should also like have a takeaway from, in terms that, like, you should be recognized. Without people, this current world wouldn't exist. So yeah, we're pretty important, I mean, and we have been pretty important. And before we make ourselves unimportant, we should really take a step back and focus on just how cool it is to be a human being, how many other human beings there are out there, and how special that is. You know what I mean? Because it is. Life is fleeting. You feel me? I mean, who knows whether or not any other like Homo sapien will ever have the kind of experience that we've had, here on this planet or whatever. And I don't want to get too existential or whatever. I'm just saying that it's cool to be a human being, and that there's a lot of unconditional sociological, psychological benefits from just being a good person to other people, and not as a result of tech making it easier or whatever. I mean, all you need is some common sense and the ability to communicate. And, you can be one heck of a peer. You can be one heck of a friend. You can be one heck of a mentor. You can be one heck of a family member. There's all of these things have value. They have intrinsic value more than money, more than all of these other things. I think relationship building amongst human beings should be a primary focus, as we really don't know anything about each other, even though there's been thousands of years, we've been told or sold the idea. But like, how many of us really know each other? Like, why do we live in a world where I could get on a plane and be anywhere in the world within a matter of a day, but yet because of arbitrary and man-made decisions about imaginary borders, there's like some real controversy about, even borders. So like, people fighting with people, just again, there should come a point, in our evolution where it's not worth it, where it just takes too much energy, too much time to, do all of the things that human beings do to one another. And it's unfortunate, because I almost feel like it's a waste of time. Like, what are we doing here? Like, are we always wasting our time and, making it only valuable for a few? And that's literally what happens. Or at some point, do we, validate our own existence and our own purpose in life, which is ultimately just being a good person. You feel me? Like, that's it. That's all. It's a real simple doctrine, and if you follow that, I'm convinced that you'll be pretty good off, you'll be pretty happy. And for a lot of us, for most of us, I think that's the standard. That's the metric, is we want to be happy, and all of every time that happiness does not translate to material possession or material wealth or anything that doesn't give you that feeling that you get when you hop in front of your camera to talk to strangers about absolutely nothing. It's invaluable. This feeling I have is priceless. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night to join me. I try not to drag out the social capitalism videos out too long, but it's always, important to me to kind of let everyone know where I'm coming from, things like that. So I hope we're still friends, and I hope that you guys continue to watch the channel, because you make everything worthwhile, and I hope that you have a wonderful night, okay? All right, bye.